Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. I'm so excited for our very next guest because we actually share a writing coach together, and we released a book fairly close to each other about completely different topics, but I'm super excited. We have my friend George here. He's going to be talking more about his story, his book. Hopefully, feel inspired to go read it, because even just before we started recording, I was automatically inspired. So I know you guys are going to get a lot of this podcast, especially if you ever felt like you were kind of in a transitional phase in your life, or kind of feeling down or not sure what to do next. And George is going to definitely shed some light on that. So without further ado, George, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me. Talking about transitions, pretty crazy world how don't know each other just a few weeks ago, and then all of a sudden.
Yeah. And literally just chatting right before you started recording, I was like, now I understand why you worked with John. So John Romanello are both of our writing coaches, and he won't work with someone, especially, it's funny, he only works with women now. And he's like, I'll work with a man if they can go deep. He's like, otherwise, I'm done with the surface level BS. He's so funny. So I was like, yeah, I get it now. You're good. You're good-hearted human. I get it. So yeah. Anyways, the first question I always ask my guests to answer to help just get the listeners to know who you are is a 3-part question. I want you to tell us who you are, what you do, and most importantly, why you do what you do.
Well, who is George? That is actually a truthful question. It's a tough question because, speaking of transitions, I'm actually in the process of figuring that out. So I have shed all previous identities to find out who I am right now. But on the outside, currently, I am an author. I'm a coach. I'm a dad to a wonderful little 5-year-old. And I empower others to overcome the darkest days of their lives because my words are a safe space for them to really find their voice, connect their heart, and unlock their true potential.
That's so powerful. So what made you get in? How did you get here?
Yeah, where does it start?
Give us the backstory.
Everything starts with a story, but I believe that the most impactful stories, there are 3 decisions I've made in my life that led me to where I'm at. There's plenty more, but 3 that I can kind of pinpoint. First one was joining the Marine Corps around 9/11. And then I spent 10 years as a Marine. Right. And halfway through the retirement, where I could have stayed and retired as a Marine literally this year, I chose to leave this service after 10 years and move into the civilian world. So embark on another hero's journey, we'll call it. And then from there, about 7 or 8 years later, I chose to file for divorce when I knew it would tear my world apart. And so those 3 decisions were all impactful in a way because they challenged everything I was as a man, right? Like my identity, what I thought life needed to be, what I thought life should be, who I thought I should be at all these ages and all these impacts. So I hit all these check boxes in life: MBA, good career, house, wife, all the things, the kids. But inside, I was dying inside. And because I didn't know how to acknowledge that, I didn't know how to talk about it, I didn't know how to basically do anything about it, I just let life kind of take me. So I existed on the surface. And when I filed for divorce, everything came crashing down. Robert Bly is a book called Iron John, and a book about men. He talks about men in their mid-30s to early 40s will hit what's called a catabasis. And it's a downfall from status. So here I am, don't know who I am, or I thought I knew who I was. It just changed instantly. And so I had to go through years and layers of repressed hurt and repressed emotion to face everything that I never wanted to face. And in that process, I found writing, which allowed me to kind of sit with the pain and face the truth of who I was and get to where I'm at today.
Wow, that's so powerful. That's so powerful. So it sounds like there were some pretty dark times for you, but now you're kind of climbing out of it. And I thank you for your honesty and vulnerability, and also thank you for your service. Like, that's really, really brave. And you did a lot of brave things that I think when people look at a hero, they look at people in the military. But realistically, I think the bravest thing you did was realize that the situation you were in wasn't serving you, both in the military, both in your marriage, in so many aspects. Like you said, you had all the things that look good on the outside, but on the inside, you were dying. That was so powerful. When did you realize that it was time for you to make the shift? Like, when was there were like breaking points, or was it kind of like an accumulative thing?
So when I filed for divorce, I didn't know all the things were going to happen. Actually, I went into a very devastating, dark period because even though I filed, I acted like I still needed to be that. So I thought I was a failure. I thought I was a bad dad. I thought I was a bad man. And so that period led me to drink, to do drugs, to have lots of sex with women that I cared nothing about, and all these dark periods. And it went on for about a year until I found myself in an empty parking lot with a gun to my head. And I talk about this in the book, but God or my daughter or something higher saved me, because I had pulled the trigger thousands of times in the Marine Corps, but I couldn't pull the trigger that day. Gun in my mouth and everything. And from there, I just went on my phone and called everybody until someone picked up. A good friend from California picked up, and that was it. I started getting help, and I said, I need to change. Like, I have a daughter. Like, I can't do this anymore.
Wow. Sorry, I'm like crying. I don't know if you guys are crying, but I'm crying. Because God, I feel like there's a reason, right? And I think you made a reason out of that moment for you. You made a reason. By now, it's just because you didn't pull the trigger, you are able to help so many other people. So I hope anybody that's listening right now, that you understand that there's a purpose for you. And there's probably many purposes, honestly. And because you feel lost now, it's not a forever thing, right? It's when you push past it that you will be able to figure it out. But a decision like that is final, right? And so I think that there's it's just God was watching, whoever you want to believe in was watching that day and was saying like, no, you're not, your work here is not done. You have more to be doing.
That's exactly how I kind of see it and saw it. Basically, because I've had this whole pull in my life that I needed to be greater than something, hence why I joined the Marines, because it wasn't enough to just join any branch. And so there's this internal pull inside. Like, I always feel like, okay, no matter how hard life is, like, there's another option, there's another chance. Like right now, dropping everything in the last few years, then hitting COVID, like, it's not an easy situation for me. Yes, I'm an author, but I still have struggles. So I make life work. And I know that the struggle is where I'm at in this moment, and that life is unfolding. I'm not resisting the struggle, right? I'm honoring the path. I'm honoring the struggle, and I'm making it work.
Yeah. Oh my God. So powerful. So how did you start? So that was obviously rock bottom for you. How did you get, what shifted, what changed? What did you start to do after that when you realized I got to get help?
Yeah, sure. The biggest thing I did was I hired a therapist, which I'd never had before in my life. And I hired a men's coach. And those two things were very powerful. I did therapy for a little bit, and I was doing it. And then I felt stuck, and I was like, okay, you keep telling me the same thing. So I hired a men's coach. His name was Trevor Bohem, Man Uncivilized. And he's like, you want to work with me? And I was like, I wasn't sober at the time, and I was still having lots of sex. And he's like, you want to work with me? You got to cut out all distractions in your life. No sex, no alcohol, no drugs. It's a 12-week program, $5,500. And I'm like, I just got divorced. Like, I don't have $5,500. So I dropped the credit card. I was like, I believe in this. Let's go. I want to change. And so I worked with him 12 weeks one-on-one, and we started going deeper into my life and finding things that I need to face and helping me face the truth. And, there were 75-minute calls, and he challenged me to write about my feelings.
Wow.
And I was like, no way. I can't write about my feelings. No way. Next thing I know, I was writing about my feelings. And every day I would journal and journal and journal. And that started turning into the book and started allowing me to feel things I never felt before, because it came out in some different expression,
Yeah. So before we were recording, you told me that you were writing a book, and then you realize now you're writing, explain more about that. You were writing a book, but now the book that you have out, Nowhere to Go, is different from the book you were writing. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So I wrote a completely different book than what's out. It was a book for veterans transitioning out of the military. And it was very like structured, on the surface, step-by-step process, which is great. There's some books out there that need that. And I've read 10 of those and I think they're awesome, but they weren't my true story. They weren't my voice. It was like Marine Corps style, like this is this, this is this. And then, I realized like, okay, like transitions in life are inevitable. Struggles are inevitable. All of our lives are unique. How can we have a 5-step plan for this? We can't.
Right.
And so my book turned into a series of essays and poems to help the reader find themselves by giving them permission to go deeper into their lives.
And what would you say is like the one biggest takeaway that someone's going to get from reading the book?
Yeah, you're going to see that your story matters, your voice matters, and so do you. And no matter how hard things may seem, when you finally accept and witness and let go, beautiful things happen.
Yeah. Acceptance. I feel like the acceptance component is such a big step, right? Like until you can acknowledge where you are, it's going to be hard to move forward. Is there anything in particular that either you implemented or you work with clients, right? You coach clients through these transitional moments. Can you give us some, like a little bit of insight of whether it's in the book or with a client, like some things that you do to help them kind of be able to sit with their feelings or be a little bit more vulnerable or honest with themselves? Like what are some tactics that you utilize?
Yeah, sure. The first thing is reality is like people come to me and they're going through this struggle and everything. We just get them to move their body first. That's just always, I'm a strength coach by trade. So that just, it makes sense, right? Most people come to me, they're struggling. We get them in a program, like a 12-week program. It's individualized for them depending on what their lives are going. So maybe they're hiking, maybe it's doing yoga, maybe it's a body weight workout, maybe it's going to the gym, whatever they need. And when they start to move their body, like emotions start to move around too. And so we do that. Our first real interaction is all about like where you're at right now. What are you feeling? Where do you want to go? And we talk about that. And then I just have them doing like a future you video. Right. So that's the first exercise we do. It's like, all right, cool. You're here right now. You just get it all off your chest. Let's get you into your heart, out of your head and into your heart. Let's close your eyes. Let's do a little visualization exercise, and allows them to just see that like something greater is out there.
Yes.
And then when you start to envision it, you can start to believe it a little bit more. And when you start to believe it a little bit more, you can start to see it a little bit more. And then it's just a cycle of things that come into your life, right? It's not easy. It might not happen in 12 weeks.
No, but that's powerful. And I think I think there's obviously movement is medicine, 100%. And I love that you kind of highlighted that it could be any type of movement that you want it to be, or that you feel like you genuinely need. It doesn't need to be like this rigid, like, although strength training is awesome, like it doesn't have to be strength training. You just got to move. You just got to, and I'm sure along to that, like just the habit of like sticking to something. It's just so great for confidence, right? And then physically moving your emotions is so powerful. But the vision work that you just talked about, like the future self, that's so powerful, because I feel like we get so focused on just like what's going wrong that we forget that it can go right. And like, that there's a reason for us to be here, and that there is this future self that's like waiting for us to finally like show up and be that person, but we can't if we're so stuck in our past, right? And just like thinking about what can go wrong. It's like, what if something goes right? I think it was a meditation I was doing. I learned, and I wrote it in my notes section. Wait, I'm going to pull it up really quick. I hope I don't lose it. I even like tweeted it. Apparently it's like a thing. Wait for it. It's a more recent tweet. Okay. Yeah. So, what if instead of worrying that everything can go wrong, which is paranoia, we expect everything will go right, pronoia. And apparently it's a real word or term, thinking about like, instead of like thinking everything's going to go wrong, you think about everything's going to go right. So it's pronoia. I didn't even know that was a word. I don't know if they made it up in like, the spiritual community or whatever,
Sure.
But I was like, that's so profound. Like, that's so true, because our minds, if you think it's going to go wrong, you're right. And if you think it's going to go right, you're right. Like it's so much, our minds dictate everything that we do, how we think. And so if you can see the picture, it might make you motivate you to like, be like, oh, there is an opportunity for change here. I can grow. Like, but what do I need to do to get there? Right. And it starts to change the story a bit.
Yeah. Anissa Nin, I quoted her. She says like, we don't see things as we are. We see things as they are. So like, or we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. Excuse me. And so it means that much of what happens in our life is a reflection of what we see about ourselves and believe about ourselves. And so if we never give ourselves permission to like envision a better future, not just like gratitude exercise and all those stuff are great. But what I've realized is that most of us just do them. Like we're really just literally doing them. We're
so
not like,
used to the checkbox, the to-do
right.
list.
We're not sitting down and feeling it and envisioning it and actually believing it. That's a difference. And that's what I realized when I started making the switches. Like when I sit down to journal, like I'll be honest, I don't journal every day. I try to, but I don't. When I really do it, it's like thoughtful exercises and stuff that makes me feel in the heart and in my body. Like I look for those things. And that makes that when that depression comes, because it always does, like that little bit of switch. You know, yesterday I was feeling depressed and I didn't like dishonor it. I went to the gym for 15 minutes. It was better than nothing. It got me to feel. I took a walk and then I picked up my daughter in school and I enjoyed the day. Right.
Yeah.
Still depressed, but I did what I needed to do.
So thank you for sharing that. And let's explore. I just went on my story yesterday and I'm being really vulnerable and honest. And I opened up like a few weeks ago about this. So if you listen to the podcast, this is not new to you, but if you don't, you might be surprised. Like I am a very like happy-go-lucky person. And I'm not going to go on a tangent, but basically short version, I do struggle with anxiety and I've just always hit it really well, whether it be through my like history of disordered eating habits and like obsessing over food or excessive exercise or emotional eating or even like keeping a very busy schedule. Like, and in society, especially when I was in a bigger body, it was like praised for excessive exercise. And I was like praised for like being so productive. And it's like, no, I was just like an anxiety, like I was full of anxiety and I had nowhere to go with it. So I was like always doing something, but I've like really have healed from that. And now I'm paying attention to it more. And it got like kind of really bad in the sense because I feel like although like exercise is a healthy coping mechanism, it got a little bit obsessive for me. So anyways, long story short, I've been worrying, like noticing it more and really healing that part of me. But I've also am noticing like the opposite of that is like I can be really depressed, like really bad, like some really like low days. And yesterday I kind of shared a little bit on my story about it. And it was about yesterday, but kind of was like Sunday too. So it was like a full like 24 hours of just like, just like blah, you know, like don't want to do anything. And I would love to hear some of your tips for like how you navigate through those moments. Because it's hard. I think we beat ourselves up because we think every day we're going to feel motivated and productive. And like, if we're not super, super happy, like I know for me, like everyone knows me as like happy-go-lucky. So if I'm not that, like, who am I? So can you like share a little bit? Sorry, I gave a little bit. I don't know if I gave too much of a backstory, but
no, it's perfect. You know, I think this is still something I'm also learning, you know, because for a long time I would be that guy who just ran away from everything. Like if I was feeling like crap, I'd like go work out, go for a run, you know, stay busy. But now when I start to feel down and I start to feel depressed, like I first try to turn to my body and I usually know, don't work out hard, just go for a walk, you know, do a little bit. I'll sit there and breathe and use breath work or meditation as a cut. And then sometimes like I'll just do nothing.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit harder when I have my 5-year-old because like I have a 5-year-old. So she does not deserve to do that. So if I'm feeling down, like she can usually snap me out of the downness, like real quick. Like I was feeling down the other day, we went to a park and I'm pushing her. Like next thing I know, like I'm filled with joy. Like I literally like it's contagious, but I would say the first part is learning how to give yourself permission to feel. Right. And I know that's not easy. And so how do you do that? Well, gotta sit with yourself. You have to
create that space.
Like if you need a safe container to do so, reach out to a good friend or somebody that you can trust and say like, hey, I'm feeling down right now. I just want to reach out to let you know. And I'm going to sit for a little bit, but I might reach out because I'm afraid, you know, whatever it is. Like, so you got a container, but you're giving yourself permission to also trust like those feelings. And that's what I've learned. So I always reached out for help and got help. And then I learned to sit in the space of uncomfortableness or stillness, in the spaces between, I call it. And that gave me permission to feel a little bit more, and then sit in those spaces with less shame and less judgment. Right. And so when depression comes, I'm like, okay, I feel it. He's like darkness next to me. Some days, like I wrote a poem the other day, like just looking at the ceiling, watching the shadows crawl on the ceilings, like all these, what are these feelings? Like sometimes I don't know, but I acknowledge them now.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And I think that where the fear is if you allow yourself to feel, especially when you've been in one of your darkest places, right? It's like, sometimes I think the fear is that if I feel them, they're going to like saturate me and like pull me into an even deeper, darker place. But I think what you're saying is if you create the space without the guilt or the shame and just allow yourself to be sad, the sooner you kind of accept it and allow it, then the sooner you can kind of almost like let it go. And also not resist it. I think that like that was like something that I learned in therapy, which was like I would be upset with myself for being sad. Like I had no room to be sad. Like it's not okay that I'm sad. And it's like, no, that's part sadness. You can't be happy if you don't know what sadness is, right? Like, so it's part of you too. And like, that's okay. Not everything is supposed to be always like up here. Like, things go up and down, but the more you acknowledge it, then it's going to be a little bit more steady rather than these massive ups and massive downs.
There's an exercise that I've learned and try to do people. So when we're in this like weird place where like, I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I'm lost, I'm broken. Cool. Maybe you are, but how about I feel, right? So now you're starting to disassociate. Like I am means you're literally labeling yourself that and sending brainwaves into that, which keeps you stuck. But when you say like, I feel, now you're starting to separate the emotions from who you are. And one step further is parts of me feel sad. Parts of me feels depressed. Parts of me feels anxious, because then now you're really learning how to choose the words that you say to yourself, which in turn turns a whole different experience with it.
100%. And then it's not 100%. I think that's what feels so heavy. It's like, I'm feeling depressed. I've felt many emotions in one breath. You could be part of you is feeling depressed and the other part of you is feeling like hopeful, because it's like you're sad, but you also know that like, because you have that vision, things are going to get better. Right. So I think that's so powerful. You mentioned one of the tips I think you give to somebody, you mentioned breath work. And this is something that's been kind of more on my radar. I haven't really tried it because breath work is different than just like deep breathing, correct?
Yes.
Can you explain? Yeah. So can you explain to the listeners? Because I think they don't know. And I honestly, like, I'm so new to it, so I'm not really sure. So can you give us like a definition of what breath work is, how it's different from just like taking big, deep breaths, and how it can help someone heal?
For sure. I'm going to explain it in layman's terms. It's therapy in a funnel. And it's legitimately work. Unfortunately, it's not like some relaxing meditation,
right.
And it's not Wim Hof either. Like Wim Hof is a performance-based breathing, right? It allows you to function better under stress. Breathwork is essentially a hack into your nervous system that shuts off your fight or flight. So it gives you permission to just feel. Because when you transform the way that you feel inside, you transform the way that you show up on the outside. And so breath work is deep, deep breath work for a container of time. I usually do 17 to 27 minutes. And in that process, you're just taking 2 deep breaths, 1 exhale, 2 deep breaths, 1 exhale, 1 through the belly, 1 through the chest, let go, right? If you're listening to this, make sure you're working with somebody who knows how to monitor this, because you're basically clearing a whole bunch of negative emotions in your life and energies and all the things. And maybe it's even the first time that you've given yourself permission to feel all of these things. The first time I ever did breath work I write about in the book was a retreat in Colorado. Never did it before. I thought I was just going there for divorce. I'm like, yeah, I'm 3 months post-divorce. I had a gun to my head 3 months ago. I'm doing pretty good. Let's do this. Little did I know that I would go back and see flashbacks from my best friend getting killed in Iraq and all these emotions that I'd never accessed for many years.
Yeah.
And it was powerful. So breathwork is therapy in a funnel, because you basically shut off like the vagus nerve, which is that responsible for all that fight or flight system in your body. And it just allows you to process many emotions that you never even thought about before.
Wow. So when you work with clients, will you do a session like that? Are you trained in helping them? Okay.
Yep, we do it. So it's in 12 weeks, we do 4 together. And then I also have a group session that happens twice a month. that they can jump in as well.
Nice. Is everything virtual that you do?
Everything's virtual. Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh my God. I'm learning so much. Yeah. You've been through a lot. I feel like just the military alone, like what you just kind of share. I'm so sorry that you lost your friend and you had to see that. That's so hard to lose anybody. And then in that way, and oh God, someone who's young. And so you definitely have been through a lot. I feel like of all the lessons that you've learned throughout, it feels like I know I feel this way. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
37.
You're 37. So I'm 31. And I was reflecting on, like, I feel like I've lived so many lives. Like, you have your childhood, then you have like your middle school years, then you have your high school years, then you have your college years, then you have like your post-college years, then you have like the first time you live on your own. And then like, there's just like one job. There's so many lives in just 31 years for me. And I'm sure if you're 37, you feel the same way. Of all of the things that you've been through, what's like the one biggest takeaway that you've gotten from like all the lives? I know you're kind of just putting you on the spot a little bit, but like if there was just like one major lesson that you've gotten from all the things that you've been through, what would you say that would be? Like if you could share a little bit of light on that for the listeners.
Yeah. Don't get caught up in the chase. Like, what are you really doing? Like, who are you? Like, when was the last time you looked at yourself in the mirror and asked like who you were and what you were doing in life? Because most of us are literally existing on the surface. We're doing things in life because we think we need to do them, that we should be here. We should be this person. We need this in life at this certain time. But do you really? And that's what I've learned. Like, I don't want to get caught on the surface anymore. Like everything that I've created up until this point in my life is because I've made a choice to proactively choose this direction in the direction of my heart and dreams, rather than a life of excuses and emptiness.
Wow. So you want to live a life of alignment based off of what you really want or who you are, not based off of what like society has projected us to be or what we should be.
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Yeah. You want to live an authentic life. Like, probably so freeing. Do you feel so free?
I feel free, but it's also stressful.
Yeah. Well, tell us more about that. Because I feel like there's no coincidence why we're chatting right now, because I'm in a transitional phase right now. And I just relate to so much that you're saying. And it's such an uncomfortable place to be.
Yeah. So essentially, we have to remember that every choice we make has a consequence. It comes with a price. And so mine is a double-edged sword. I hit rock bottom and I'm still learning to pull myself out. I created a magnificent work of art via a book. I have a better relationship with my daughter, better relationship with myself. Yet there are still struggles from previous lives that I have to accept.
Right.
Like a lot of debt from divorce and quitting everything in the middle of COVID to start my own career. Like these are heavy choices, right? Yeah. I don't recommend people just all of a sudden say like, fuck it, I'm going for my dream. Peace out. Right. It's not easier said than done, but I have developed an emotional intelligence, gone through so many hardships in life that I trust myself in this moment that I'm going to get through this. No matter how hard it is. In fact, this week I'm going on a wilderness quest in Death Valley for 10 days to find out who I am. You actually fast for 4 days, only water in the desert, all alone, no distractions.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's the challenge. That's a real challenge. That'll put you in some dark places, but you'll be safe because I'm assuming it's like people are there.
No, right? You're all alone.
Well, you're by yourself?
You're by yourself, yeah.
Wait, what? Wait, hold on. Is it like other people are doing it?
Other people are doing it too, yeah.
And then you're going to like come back and process or something?
Yeah, so you have a base camp for a few days.
Where is this?
It's in Death Valley.
Where is that?
California.
Okay, California. How's the weather? Are you going to freeze?
It's the desert, so it's like 85 right now and day.
But at night,
45 at night. Yeah, 45.
At night, it's going to be cold.
Yeah, only water. I got a tarp and a sleeping bag.
Oh my God! But so I don't know this, but like in the military, did you learn how to like make fires and stuff?
Yes.
Okay, so can you bring that stuff?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll be able to make yourself a fire.
I'll be able to make a fire.
But you won't be able to eat.
No food for 4 days.
Wow. Guys, we don't recommend this.
No, I don't recommend it.
As a dietitian who specializes with people with eating disorders and disordered eating, we do not recommend this at all.
No, this is just a place in my life where it's initiation to basically embrace everything that I've chosen to do. You're
almost like a restart.
Yeah, restarting to accept this new life that's coming into me. Right?
Wow.
So there's a 3-phase. It's a severance from your old life. So I've still not fully severed from my previous life. And so I'm learning how to do that. Despite, I've never told anyone this, despite writing a book called Nowhere to Go, I'm still figuring it out and also severing from my old life.
Yeah, no, but thank you for your honesty and vulnerability. And honestly, nobody has it figured out. I think you're always figuring it out, right? So you're exploring this place now. And then like, honestly, in 10 years from now, you're probably going to feel the same way. Like, I just feel like we are meant to live many lives. We are always changing and evolving. And if we're not, I think that's a problem. No,
yeah, for sure. I'm just at a place where I want to give back to the world in place of service, not as like I want something from the world.
Yeah, but you are. I mean, honestly, this conversation alone was super valuable. I'm really excited to get your book. So tell people where they can get the book.
Yeah, 2 places, Amazon or from my website, theartoftoughTransitions.com.
Amazing. All right. So I'm going to put those in the show notes. So guys, get that book on Amazon. And you said it's like a mixture of your story, poems, tips.
Yeah, essentially it's a
like
7. So I call it like, if someone asks me, it's like 7 ways to accept and let go. In the first series of essays and poems is about understanding the places you've gone in life. So going backwards to live forwards. And then from there, there's a section called like, I see you. So you got to dig, which means that like, I'm giving you permission to know that you're seen, you're heard, and you're loved, and that you have to go deeper than the surface. You got to remove the mask to find out who you are and what you're truly made of. And then in between is all about understanding like needs, wants, values, and finding mentors in life, coupled in with a lot of essays and poetries. And the last bit is all about understanding that in the end, the same result for me, you, and everyone else is death. Wow. And so we will take a last breath physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally at all points in our lives. And we have to be able to accept that.
Yeah. Whew. I'm like, really love this conversation. I hope you guys did. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you, ask follow-up questions, just comment?
Sure. They can send me a personal DM on Instagram, _ George Kalantzis, or send me an email, george@theartoftoughTransitions.com. Let me know where you heard me and I'll reply. Yeah.
I'm going to share those in the show notes. Any last few words of wisdom? You've been very inspiring today. Anything you want to share? Anything last minute before we wrap up?
If you are struggling, you feel lost, broken, unseen, unheard, not really sure of, just remember, give yourself permission to listen to your heart. Right? It always knows who you are, in case you forgot.
Yeah. So powerful. George, thank you so much. This has been amazing, guys. Show George some love. Give him a follow on Instagram. If you are not subscribed to the podcast, hit that subscribe button and then take a screenshot of this episode and tag me and George on social media. I'm at @tips_with_Tony with an I. And George, what's your Instagram handle one more time?
It's _ George Kalantzis. Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Okay. So I'll put that in the show notes. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys for listening. As always, this is Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.